Good evening, one and all. I hope you're well. We are here for round seven, of the mystery season at WOR. I am just waiting for Bobberts to sort their internet out. Hopefully they'll be here very, very shortly to help us talk through this one. But let's go and have a look at the standings because, well, Uncle is 18 points in front of Snack. We're getting into the business end of the season now. Silo's still in with a shout as well. So things definitely worth the wait as we see 4 Shazoo drivers lined up nicely behind Uncle for this championship battle. Uncle needs everything to work in their favour this evening to make sure it goes their way. But I'm sure we'll go into full details a bit further on. We do have Quantum back as well, who technically could say is still in the championship fight. We know the track for this evening, and the track is Spain. So Spain, both Bobberts and I were wrong. Saudi and Singapore, we were so close with the only other S there for this one. And it'll be an interesting one to say the least, and definitely some of the pressures of maybe on Uncle, maybe on some of the other cars and other team members, or Shazoo team members, may feel the pressure a little bit. But I say that, and I say that very, very loosely, because they're in so many team championships which they do so well at, and it's going to be very, very tough to know who will go in what position, in what order. But yeah, will they feel the pressure? I don't think they will do this early doors. The cars are flooding out on track already. As up the inside, well, let's go trackside, because it looks like they're already racing, even though it's qualifying. Let's have a look. See, it was very. I think that was Epic Vale squabbling with Dirk heading into turn 4, Ripsol, where we had obviously famously 2016, 2017, the what is going on? This is very, very interesting setup, as Epic Vale wants to be the first car to go out and set a lap time this evening, as every car is on track here for this one right now. And this is well, very, very interesting. It makes me think that rain is going to come down, but I think everyone just wants that extra lap on their tyres. There's a gaggle at the entry or the exit of turn 11 and into 12, and we'll see how well. Let's see how Epic Vale handles it. The back end steps out of them at turn 2, but keeping nice to the apex or the inside of turn 3, which will then push to Ripsol and a 5-place grid penalty. So I'm assuming at that point we will definitely be getting a safety car restart, a restart for this one, as we have started, and Bobberts is here. So I can introduce Bobberts finally for this one, and I'll try and get you in the lobby very, very quickly as well. But welcome along, Bobberts.
Yes, hello. Had a few technical gremlins. Yeah, it's Good Friday after all. I mean, I know the storm comes tomorrow, but maybe this is my prenup ready for it. Who knows? But yes, good evening, everybody. I am now here. Need not panic.
Are you in the lobby, or are you?
The game is currently loading. It's just taking its time to communicate with the servers as per. I have got the invite though. It has just popped through, so that is good.
Awesome. Well, Otsazito goes quickest. We're in Spain, if you hadn't seen, so we're both wrong. The only other S on the calendar, and it was there. Max van der Geest is coming through turn 11. Silo the quickest now, 200th of a second quicker than Otsazito. Tech Brutal in third. And it's Alpine Williams right now. Uncle down to 5th place. Dirk just behind. He's ridiculously close to Uncle, as Max van der Geest hasn't had a good lap at all. Finley has finished their lap, and I think has Finley hasn't finished. It's Monza that we're on board with. coming around the fight. No, Monza's going into the pits. Finley is just about to finish there. That time, the last driver to do so on their first runs goes up into P6, knocking Uncle down to 7th. We do have a race ban this week, and that's from Adrian after their incident at Qatar. But yeah, so far so good. Bobbits, are you in yet, or is it still connecting to search?
I've had to restart the game because it was not moving off the communicating with the servers for trying to get to the invite. So yeah, just gonna reload it, give it a minute, and then I'll do it just to perhaps give it time to warm up if it's going to be like that today.
Feels like it indeed. And obviously I won't make the faux pas that I did last week and say, what tyre strategy do you think is going to be? Definitely hard.
I mean, you know, there could be many strategies, who knows? But they won't involve the hards for sure.
No.
But yes, well, either way, this is, well, we're coming to the business end of the season. And again, I think I touched on this last week, where I said about your prediction aspect. You needed to get it right tonight. And unfortunately, it hasn't gone that way. So, well, we still have 3 rounds to go tonight. So you've got to get the next 3 right to have a chance on winning this whole thing, if at all. But
I don't think it's possible.
No.
No. There's more chance, I think, of. It's going to sound horrible if I pick anyone to say could take victory here tonight. So I'm not going to do that. But Nicholas is just about to start a lap time, followed closely by someone else as well. So I believe it's going to be another restart this evening between proceedings because there has been a 5-place grid penalty already given. So
excellent. Which is more than what I can say, because once again, I'm still communicating with the online services. So clearly, F1 and my connection is not wanting to work well tonight.
Unfortunately not. As very close at the exit of the pit lane, all stopping to allow Nicholas to go through, but someone nearly careered into the back of someone through that as into Repsol, turn 4. Goes Nicholas. Let's see what they can do. The McLaren sister car, Fana Spinoda, they're just getting out of the way as well. As Bobbits has finally joined the lobby, apparently, so that's a good start. And Nicholas still trying to carve their way through the lobby right now, as there's lots of traffic for them to contend with. And it might be not ideal as an RB, I think, wanting to get quickly past the Kick Sauber to follow on through. As Alpine getting out of the way, and a big snap there for Nicholas. That's not going to do the lap time any good. Are they going to jump into the pits? They are indeed. They're not happy with that. So let's see. Dirk is possibly a bit further back. Monza, where about are you? You're just about further forward. Someone's surely a bit further. Otsuzito. We'll go on Otsuzito. But hopefully you've got full screen coverage and you can see what's going on.
I certainly have, and immediately have gone on board with Otsuzito, so that was perfect, actually, from, well, I'm not going to say from my half, but I guess you could say from the game's half, but obviously here I am now, get to experience the circuit to Catalonia, Barcelona. I've done that the wrong way around, actually, come to think of it, never mind, but as Otsuzito goes round turn 9 down the second DRS straight, was actually a smidge down at the end of the first sector, is now a smidge up at the end of the second sector. My prediction for a perhaps dark horse win last week didn't quite pay off. But what could have been, as yes, we actually at least came 1-2 with our drivers' predictions last week, just the other way around. Through the final corner, Snack goes on provisional pole with a 10.9, where does Otsuzito goes, it's a 6/1000th improvement, but that remains in P3 for the time being, as Uncle completes his lap, goes 10th and a half quicker, and goes onto the second row into P4, closely following his teammate there. Was there a little bit of slipstream? Who knows?
Possibly indeed, but nothing to be said. We don't want to accuse people, but just in front of Silo, there are 2 cars going side by side through turn 11 and 12. I wonder how off-putting that is for being the driver behind, trying to knowing you're on a lap and you're pushing like hell to do it. Quicker goes Silo, but not quick enough to displace Snack. Snack may be showing the hand. Quantum going into P3 as well. Good lap time from Quantum. Good to see Quantum doing well. Is Dirk on a lap time? No, Dirk is massively down. In maybe Taigo. No, Taigo's going into the pits. Someone, please, be on a lap.
Melvin has just started lap. There's a McLaren there that I don't think has spotted that he's actually just started a lap time there, probably thinking, and that was Nicholas coming out of the pits. I think wasn't paying attention that the Kicksauber is a little bit offset to everybody else that has started his lap and may have put him off quite a bit because he's almost a 10th down at the end of the first sector, compromising through turn 1 there. So yeah, not the best of starts for Melvin, but by no means of his own accord as we come down the hill. Now this is the point where a couple of seasons ago that Leclerc and Norris came to a little bit of a tangle actually, and I don't know if it was a testing or practice session. I think it was in a practice session, and you know, Leclerc wasn't happy with something, but either way we continue on. Melvin's found a 10th and a half in that middle sector though, and he's over 7/100ths up now, so what could have been a potential bigger improvement might only be a small improvement, but still at the moment that could be enough to get him up to P6, P7. He's going to go into maybe that 111-1 fan club group, as we'll call it, through the final corner. DRS open, and indeed is not. It's 11.2, gets ahead of Finley just about, but certainly, yeah, lost time in that first sector. Will not be happy with that McLaren.
Definitely not. And well, Nicholas is kind of offset as well. Again, going to have traffic in that. I would assume in the middle sector from turns 4 to turns 8, and that is exactly the place you don't want any traffic. Similar to turns 10 to 13 as well. It's the tightest part of this track.
It certainly is, yeah. As Nicholas actually has abandoned his attempt, already. Certainly not happy with the first couple of corners, so going to recharge that battery and go again. One thing though that I'm not surprised with is that Snack and Silo are P1 and P2. I did do Legacy Division commentary around Spain, and they were 1-2 on the grid, and they actually had nearly a 1.5-2 gap over the rest of the field, and they were so close to each other on times, and it was actually Snack who outdid Silo on that particular qualifying session. Can we see a repeat again? Time will only tell, as both of them are now on outlaps for their latest attempts. Tech though is on a lap, currently in P6 at the moment, and Tech has shown good one-lap pace, but has been so unlucky and unfortunate in the race throughout this season so far. So maybe today could be the day, whereas he has a bit of a wobble through turn 9 there, the car complaining on there with rear grip, that he could actually get a good result, but 10th and a half down now through that middle sector, so yeah, certainly lost some time there, not least through turn 9, but maybe somewhere else as well.
Not ideal for Tech, and I don't want to say funny, but it's interesting that this season, the last time we did a mystery season, it was season 20, about this time last year. Tech Brutal and Volakongan were your championship contenders, and they're currently P6 and 7. We kind of expect a little bit too much from them, but the game has changed so much that the driving styles have changed for them as well, and where Volakongan was very much a tyre whisperer there, and it's struggling as I'm on board with Volakongan through turn 10, maybe in the dirty air of, it may have been a Haas, may have just caught them off guard. Volakongan around the final corner. It doesn't seem like the Volakongan we knew from a couple of seasons ago, where they could make the tyres last 3 or 4 laps more than anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he still can potentially do that, but I think it was more for the fact they were the hardest set of tyres, as it were, and he could easily quite do that. As that is Nicholas, who had not set a lap time, goes P5. Otsazito now goes onto the front row and splits the two SCR drivers of Snack and Silo for now. Silo actually is on a lap as Snack has pit, but yeah, I think Volakongan's tyre wear as such, I don't think there's really much of an advantage anymore. In some respects, doing it this way, with the fact that, you know, drivers are having to do 2 stops, and so it kind of takes away his, you know, extra bit of guess, you know, success that he has in this game, let's say, in terms of, like I said, yeah, with his tyre wear. He is still a great driver. You know, he has won this season. Did get some help from, you know, bit of a VSC safety car aspect, but still, he has at least won a race. Silo through the final corner. There's been a decent lap from him, and there we go. Now into the 110.8, which is what they were doing in Legacy Division. Snack is the one who is now behind, and is nearly 10th behind his fellow compatriot, but it is the reigning championship, reigning champion, I should say, currently now on provisional pole. Current championship leader of Uncle in P4 has invalidated his latest attempt, so he's going into the pits to go for one more attempt.
It's interesting to see that. I just seen in the chat as well from earlier on that Uncle wasn't comfortable with quali pace around here. He's okay with race, but qualifying pace isn't something they're comfortable with. His quantum has invalidated on the exit of turn 5, so they've just pushed a little bit too soon, and it means, do they just recharge the battery at this point, or do they throw themselves into the pit and try and get the tyres changed and everything and go out again?
Sorry, well, I just had to change my battery in my headset. If anything else wants to die tonight, then please, you know, let's make it a rule of 3, because, well, the batteries shouldn't do on my controller because they are brand new as of yesterday, fully charged. So they shouldn't unless they spontaneously combust. But, so yeah, we've had router, we've now had headset battery. At least that one was a lot easier than the router. But, yeah, not going great so far. Snack. Currently P2, offset to everybody else, going for a final attempt. Flick of the car to turn 1. Didn't look the best there through turn 1. Looked like he actually missed the apex, and I was completely right with that. Got on board with him. He stays in on, he's upshifted, and he will be saving that battery to go again. So, bit of an anti-climax there from Snack. So it will then be the Ferrari of Finley who will kick us off what could be his final attempt with just under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, and there's more cars coming out of the pit lane, and this is, you know, leaving it late, but also you want to leave it as late as possible so you can get the most gripped and rubbered in track as possible, as the McLaren trying to overtake the Alpine on the exit of the pit lane, crossing the white line. It's already had a couple of racing moments in qualifying. Early doors, Epic Vale trying to overtake, or did overtake, Dirk. But Finley, quick in that first sector.
Indeed, yeah, purple first sector, supposedly, again, as I keep saying, take that with a pinch of salt. Car a little bit twitchy on the exit of 5 there, coming through the hairpin, going through the chicane now of 7 and 8 up the hill, and flick it into 9 full throttle, lose a couple of miles an hour, but that's just the nature of that corner. DRS open down into the hairpin. Now we are nearly a 10th up through the middle sectors, on course for a mid 1 as it currently stands, but I think there's time to be found here. He's got a car on the exit of the corner, and that is a Mercedes. That car is now going to give him dirty air, and it's going to completely block him through these final 2 corners, and well, there you go. And that, in fact, was actually, it was not Uncle, as I was just trying to see if it was, and it was in fact Monza instead. So Monza's going to find himself under the wrath of the stewards, I think, come the end of tonight, because that has just messed up Finley. Tech goes into the wall, not happy with his lap time. How's Snack getting on though? He's a 10th up, Warner, through the end of the middle sector.
Just enough to take provisional pole currently. Where is okay, so I know the positions are Otsazito and then Silo. That's how it's going to be on this one. Snack goes quickest of all, but only just. Otsazito, then over to you. What can you perform in this final few moments? They're slightly up on their lap time at this point. Otsazito may not be able to get any higher than 3rd. Uncle there currently in 4th place. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do in preparation and in comparison to everyone else. But Otsazito crosses the line, no higher than 3rd. Uncle up into provisional pole, and the championship leader is throwing the gauntlet down, and Silo somehow needs to respond. Silo's quicker, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, only 3/1000ths up come the end of the middle split to see what time he can find in that final sector. About 400 he needs to find if he wants any chance on dislodging Tony from taking pole position here tonight. That's Fala Spinota going into P6. What can Silo do? He cannot. It's P2. He goes ahead of Snack, but not ahead of Tony. How's Quantum getting on? He's 9.5 seconds down. He is done. Misha is also done for qualifying. Tech, we know, had crossed the line and crashed. Melvin has also finished. That is qualifying over and done with. And it is your championship leader of Uncle who takes pole position. He dislodges Silo and Snack, who looked fairly comfortable all session. And, well, there you go. Championship leader takes pole position. What he needs to do, he's ahead of his rivals and can set, well, can control the race now as best as he can. And the one thing that stands out to me, who's starting P20, and that is David, and I did not see that one coming.
Definitely not on my bingo card list with that one either. But David maybe just struggling through all that. It's quite close in comparison of times. When you look at it and go in a little bit more detail, there are drivers, Quantum, Fana, Spinoda, agonisingly close to each other. Wards and Nicholas, so close as well. Same with Monza and Max van der Geest. It's not... it's only half the story, I guess, being 20th, but being 0.8 of a second slower than the pole sitting time is not ideal for David. Uncle, Silo, Snack are your top three. Then you've got Otsazito, Quantum, Fana Spinoda, Misha, Epic Vale, Volakongan and Wards rounding up the top 10. Your next 10 are Nicholas, Tech, Dirk, Monza, Max van der Geest, Melwin, Finley, who is pretty fuming, Kevin Zunneberg, Tiago, and then David rounding all that out. Interesting quali. Not what we expected, and considering Uncle complained about the qualifying pace here, has stepped up a notch.
Yes, he certainly has done. I mean, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect it. I thought it would be between Silo and Snack here for pole. Like I said, basing off Legacy Division about a month ago, I think that was now. That they would run away with in qualifying at least, and well, that certainly wasn't the case at the end. Uncle did pull a good qualifying lap out of the bag there towards at the very end, and got one over on the pair of them. So kudos to him, and it's a pole position for him here tonight. And but we will now have this interlude where we will have to wait and see for the race to get going, and probably in just under 10 minutes time once we have a restart. But Uncle's lead is 18 points over Snack in P2. Obviously gained quite a bit based off last week in Qatar, but the one thing to point out is Silo is up into P3 in the standings, 36 points behind, but he's still within touching distance, I think, Water, and I still think you cannot discount him until the final race of the season.
You can't. I mean, probably very close to being classed as the quickest on console, has been for a while, but people are now starting to catch up because of the end of the game cycle, and that's kind of always the way, isn't it? And I think it is neutralised a little bit with the mystery seasons. You can't practice as much for races and as he probably would have liked, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting race, this one. But I've got the standings up, and obviously 18 points separate Uncle and Snack. All that takes is an Uncle DNF and a Snack second finishing second, and they're level on points all over again.
Exactly, yeah. And now that's not to say that obviously Uncle is going to get involved in an incident here tonight or throughout the rest of the season, but anything could happen. Could be could be penalties, it could be like I said, an unfortunate mistake or anything like that. So we just have to wait and see. But all it takes is one mistake for something like that to happen, and brings them to, like I said, level on points potentially. So we will have to wait and see. I was like a little nervous thinking which Mercedes is, as I was watching qualifying, was blocking Finley, and I thought surely it's not Uncle. And I guess in this respect, at least it wasn't, or else that could have been a very serious sort of penalty going into next week. But fortunately, it wasn't Uncle, but unfortunately, it was Monza with his lack of concentration.
And I've said about the Uncle, the scenario of Uncle not getting any points and Snack finishing second. If Silo wins, then all of a sudden they're only 11 points behind Uncle and Snack. It can turn on a dime like that. But I'm pretty certain, I think we said last week, Wollongong, Dirk, Quantum, unfortunately, while still mathematically able to, pretty much they're out of this title race.
I mean, yeah, Wollongong has only done 3 races. He missed the first 3, he has done the last 3, and the fact he scored 50 points is, a great effort. But if he wants any chance, he's got to continuously, outscore everybody above him, and by big margins as well, which is by no means an easy feat. It's it's going to be very difficult at the best of times. But I think as much as we don't want to discount people already at this point, we're still 4 rounds to go, including tonight. Then I think it is a 3-horse race between Tony, Snack, and Silo, with his victory that he needed last week to cement his title challenge once again. So, but anything can still happen. We have to wait and see. But can the champion be dislodged? Will we have a new champion, or could we have somebody from seasons ago who'd won to perhaps bring a shock?
We will have to wait and see. I've just put the tick on the calendar very, very hastily to throw in there. And obviously we've got this interlude. We are just waiting for everything. Well, positions to be given and everything. There are 9 tracks remaining. Is my maths correct? Yeah, 9 tracks remaining for the final 3 rounds. We were completely off kilter with our designs of free flowing to street track or tight and twisty. Where do we? I'll pose a question now. Where do we see ourselves next week?
And I'm going to guess, as I'm just having a bit of a mini egg, that I'm going to be guessing first.
Yes, that's usually.
Yes, that usually is the case.
And I always try and do it
Tricky.
at the most inopportune moment, because
catch me off guard. So then I'm having to think very quickly and on my toes. Difficult one, to say at least. It's because everything is kind of got off pot now in terms of perhaps as to what it potentially could be. But I will go with Austria.
Austria, fair. I would like to see that, to be fair. I do like Austria as a track. Another quick and fast flowing one. I'm going to go for the 3rd time this season, I think. It will be. I'm going to choose China. I've got, not a very good chance of it coming out, but why not? I just feel the wheel gods maybe linked, and actually I'm not here next week, so I'm gonna say mine for the round 9 as well, and I'm gonna say Belgium.
Okay, well in that case then, considering that like you said, you're not going to be here for that, round 9 for me will be China. Just because I can, and imagine if that were to come off.
Just imagine if next week is Belgium and the week after is Austria. That would be quite historic. But obviously, I mean, it's quite this track is quite tire demanding. Where do we see? Could we even see a 3-stopper this evening?
No, I think we're just going to see the usual, as we've been accustomed to this season, 2 stops, 1 soft, 2 medium tyres. It's a case of what order people doing them in. I mean, more often than not, people are just going to do the soft, medium. Maybe somebody towards the back might do something a little bit offset. The other thing as well, obviously, is see how big an undercut people try to go for, because the undercut here isn't that particularly powerful. Not as much as I would have thought. It's, you can gain maybe up to a second here, which I suppose can still come off. You might still gain at least one position or so, but it's not as big compared to Qatar, like last week, for example, and other tracks that we've had this season. So yeah, drivers, I think you could see some of them may attempt it, especially those in the mid pack, but there's going to be a lot of DRS trains, I think, here tonight. It's not easy to overtake here. Your best chance, as we know, is into turn 1 with the DRS, unless you try and catch somebody off guard. As I believe, Warder, your mic may not be working.
May not be working and may be off. This is why...
There it is. That'd be why, yes. Age gets to the best of us sometimes, but at least I don't turn my mic off.
Well, I have a cough and no one can hear it. Turn it off. Forget that I've muted
Forget to turn it back on.
And then everyone can see, because obviously, the camera's on, and just see my mouth move. No.
Yes, that is what he's actually doing there, everybody, is a bit of mime, just for you to sort of guess.
What you said about, oh god, overtaking opportunities. So turn 1, and then I think turn 4 and turn 10 going into those corners. But I feel like it's going to be slim pickings for overtaking this evening. Yeah,
it certainly will be. It's like I say, going to be very difficult, apart from on the opening lap, which we have seen every single race this season. There's something will happen. There's been an incident, I think, on every single lap so far this season to some accord, and tonight might not be any different. So we'll wait and see once the driver's ready up in the next few seconds or so as to if that will be the case. Can Tony keep and maintain that lead off the start is going to be the question. We could have a 3-wide opportunity into turn 1, but time will tell as to if that's going to happen. Yeah, Tony, what he's got to do is just keep his nose clean and keep out of trouble. I don't think it matters if he loses a position or two. As long as he's there or thereabouts, then he'll be absolutely fine. But what these guys cannot do, like last week, is let Silo get away and pull away from the field. Or else that is just a recipe for disaster, because again, that happened in Legacy Division. Snack actually retired from Legacy Division from a mistake, and Silo just ran away with it.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but time is ticking, and so is the red lights, and away we go here in Spain, and it's a pretty good start from the lead runners as they head through. It's not changed for me, as side by side for Snack and Silo as they head into turn 1. It looks like very much Uncle's being under pressure from both drivers as they head on through turns 2 into turn 3. I don't think anything. Misha is getting involved in the background. I think Snack has gone a little bit wide at the exit of turn 3, and there's some contact in the background. My goodness me, how have they kept on the road? That was Hamilton Rosberg-esque if I had ever seen it.
Did, yeah, all very compact. There's that, I believe, was Dirk sending it down the inside from what I can see on Nicholas, trying to get them in for P10 there, and he just about gets that done. We're still too wide towards the back of the field, and now it's Tech Brutal along down the inside of WOR. This is the battle for the lead medium tyre runner, and there's more contact up further up. There goes an end play. And that is off the McLaren of Fana Spinoda. We're now 3 wide into the hairpin. That got very tight and very... I'm not going to say the analogy. I might have been thinking there that's not PG rated, so we'll keep that quiet. But either way, Dirk gets away with it. He's now up into PA, but Fana Spinoda getting into a few wars there with a few drivers, and now has come out with end plate damage. I think that was with Epic Vale, if I'm not mistaken, Warder.
I couldn't see. All I saw was an end plate fly off, and heartache for poor old Fana Spinoda as the 2 Ferraris, Wards and Finley, going side by side, and they clipped each other. Teammates, that's not what you should be doing. I don't think there's any front wing damage for them. Monza's just behind them, under pressure, and just behind them is Tayega and Max van der Geest going side by side. The majority of the grid is on a set of soft compound tyres, 4 drivers on a set of mediums, and well, Uncle hasn't pulled away. Silo is definitely there or thereabouts, sticking with them at the moment. But this midfield battle is carnage.
It certainly is. There's carnage, and then there's well, it's not the worst that we've seen, but we've got two drivers with end plate damage. One being Fanas Spinoda, the other being Thiago down in P18, so not the best of starts for them. Fanas Spinoda managing to keep within the DRS for the time being, but again, we can see this. So once the driver loses that DRS, that is just curtains then for the rest of them that are in behind, and it's so difficult to try and close in that gap to the pack in front of them. Snack sets the fastest lap of the race up in P3. As for the lead of the race, Silo makes a move on Uncle for P1 comfortably with the DRS, and the reigning champion gets that move done on the current drivers champion this season. Snack there in P3 for Motza Zito, Quantum P5, Volokongan in P6, and then it's kind of been behind Dirk, behind where the action has been, but it's now starting to settle down a bit as everyone gets into that rhythm, into the groove on lap 3 out of 33.
David having a little look at the inside of turn 4, and will have the outside for turn 5, but I don't think it's going to be on, and no switchback available, so David has be forced to stay behind for the time being. But even on the slower compounder tyre, they are so much quicker because of that front wing damage to Thiago, and well, David needs to get the move done now, or otherwise could be forcing themselves out. And there's a little late defensive move, I think, from Thiago there, maybe unexpecting the FRT driver to be there. Are we going to have another lead change, or are they going to play ball as they head towards turn 1? It looks all fine and dandy as Thiago gets like a 3-second time penalty on lap 3 of 30.
Indeed, yes, and that's all. Well, a lot of that is down to that front end plate damage on the left-hand side. Whereas, same with Fanas Spinoda, his is also on the left-hand side, but Fanas Spinoda doing a better job at the moment, mentioning to stick with Dirk. Obviously, he has the VNT game tag. He is obviously part of SCI, so at least he has a SCI compatriot in front of him to help tagging along. But yeah, no change out in front. Uncle are more than happy enough to stay behind Silo, let him do the hard work, the donkey work to drag everybody else along. This DRS train is still all 20 drivers for the time being. Thiago now dropping off the back of David, who's trying to close in on Max van der Geest, and yes, that end plate damage not doing him any justice, and Kevin Zumberg is now going to have to try and get a move done as quickly as he can, so he doesn't lose obviously to the drivers in front. But Thiago now over a second off, and again, so this just shows the difficulty and the struggles he's having with that wing damage, and it's well, Kevin Zumberg should get a move done going down the DRS straight. As for anybody else who's already going down there, doesn't really seem to be any moves, apart from maybe Tech, who's within 2/10 of Nicholas in front, but can't seem to get close enough. Is it going to be a late move down the inside? The answer is no, so that just leaves Kevin Zumberg to get that move done on Thiago, which he has done for P19, but he's now 1.6 seconds off the back of David in front.
It's not ideal for Kevin Zumberg there, as it really has not been a day for them at all, as Tech, I think, finally getting past Nicholas for P12, as
yes,
that is a pretty good move around the outside of turn 4, sorry. Not having any incidents, thankfully, for Tech. Starting on the lead car on the medium compounder tyres, doing something different. They didn't have the best of qualifying, and they feel that the Ferrari's going massively wide at the exit of turn 9, and it felt like, well, I say felt like, it looked like Wards was going to completely lose the back end there.
Certainly can, and yeah, the exit of that rumble strip at turn 9 could easily unsettle the car, and can almost send you off and spinning into the wall, and pretty much ending your race, as we already have some pit stoppers, and it's those that are just behind the top 5 going for the earlier one lap undercut, as it were, to try and get a jump on the top 5 if they can. Obviously, that does now free. There's now that big gap in between Quantum and Misha now. As it is Volokonga, Dirk, Epic Vale, Fanas Spinoda, Finley, and then obviously Thiago with that wing damage, who's now, just to add insult to injury, been held up in the pits because obviously his teammate was in. So if Thiago's race couldn't go any worse, it now just has.
Such a shame for Thiago. Hopefully they stick it out. You never know what happens. Safety car could come out and cause a little bit of reprieve for them. And I'm just keeping an eye on Misha and Quantum's time. It's sticking at about 3.2 seconds. Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Excuse you.
That was a weird hiccup indeed. But it's gone up. When it hits the straight, it goes up. It's gone up by 0.2 of a second. So definitely not the tyres to be on. And Tech Brutal, crucially, is all over the back of them. Melville and Misha are in a world of trouble. One of them's going to have to pit this lap. The other one has got another lap of pain.
Indeed, and in this case, it is going to be Melville that has to stay out. So there's a little wiggle there from him just to tell Tech there, I'm not going to defend. I'm going to let you go ahead, and I will just stick as close to you like glue if I can. So that is Tech 9 to P2. Otsazito stays out for another lap on his soft tyres. So he's going to try and go for that offset at the end of the race to see if he can make them work. Interestingly, so Silo comes out of the pits ahead of Uncle, ahead of Snack, but it's Quantum who has lost out. He is side by side with Epic Vale through turns 1 and 2 coming out of the pits. Epic Vale gets ahead of the Haas driver, so it is Quantum, the only one of those who pitted later, that has lost out, and he's behind Volokongan and Epic Vale as a result. So not great for Quantum, but good for the other two.
Not ideal, unfortunately, but the tyre life should swing back into their favour maybe towards the end of the race, and maybe can use a little bit more of an attacking mindset later on. But right now they've got to consider Dirk, who's behind them, and Dirk's feeling a bit racy. Tyres all freshened and ready to go, while Quantum's getting there, but not yet. Otsazito stays out again. Do I feel like I've got a strange feeling of deja vu?
I was just going to say the exact same thing. I'm thinking, he's not trying it again, is he? Like he did last week. And you know what? I think he is. I think, we said about Volokongan being a tyre whisperer, but I think Otsazito, speaking of Volokongan, he says the fastest lap of the race. But yeah, Otsazito certainly is that driver now. And he got it to work at Qatar. The same, obviously, the safety car came out just as he pitted. So we didn't get to see the benefit of that one stop against the two stop, if it would have worked or not for him. But yeah, I think if you can get these tyres to do another 4 laps at least, I think he has a chance on getting this one stop to work. I'm surprised that someone is trying it. But also then you got Melvin, Nicholas, Monza and Kevin Zumberg also, as that was David going very wide there at turn 9, also staying out on these soft tyres. So let's see what they can do as well at the same time. Can they get them to last? So riding a ball with Otsazito through the penultimate corner, and indeed he does stay out. So I think he's committed here to doing this one stop. Uncle is actually ahead of Silo now, so he's the net, let's say, runner of the pit stoppers so far.
And crucially, Tech dispatched Melwin, but Melwin's kept up with Tech, which is good for Melwin. Let's see if anything happens down the start-finish straight between Uncle and Silo. I don't think it is. Quantum's the fastest driver on the circuit. Silo looks a little bit to the inside, but nothing doing on this occasion. Maybe to save a little bit of ERS and work that into their favour. Fana Spinoda is back out on another set of soft tyres. No front left end plate replacement. So is this a 3-stop now? It has to be, surely, for Fana Spinoda.
I mean, unless he could get these soft tyres to, again, go quite a bit and then do a long thing on the mediums here, but it's not really going to work out for him. And I think, well, maybe he's just trying to keep up with the pack in front by going onto the set of soft tyres and not change his front wing. But obviously, yeah, that damage is certainly not doing him any good at all. And I think sooner rather than later, he's just going to drop back and kind of just drift off, I'm afraid, unfortunately, for the McLaren man. So, but we'll see. You never know, anything could happen. But yeah, so the top 9 all stay out once again. And well, who was it last week, Warder, that was trying this one stuff but got a puncture on the soft compounded tyres? I can't remember who it was, which kind of made me think that, everyone is going to be risking it, and that's going to be the case again here tonight.
Yeah, there was like 3, what was it, 3 or 5 drivers trying the one stop, and one of them on the final corner, wasn't it, went and span. can't for the life of me remember. But since being onto these medium compound tyres, Uncle definitely has controlled things a little bit more and getting those tyres fired up. And that's not the first time we've seen this happen from Uncle, is it? They're same as last week, qualified worse. But then as soon as they were on the medium compounder tyres, it was like it's a different driver.
Indeed, perhaps he's just that little bit more comfortable on the slightly harder set of tyre compound, but at the same time he probably was thinking to have any chance of winning this race or outscoring his main championship rivals, he's got to get ahead of both of them, and indeed that's what he has done. He's obviously retaken that position away from Silo. I mean, at the moment they're only battling for P10. They've got 4.7 seconds in front to Kevin Zumberg, who's leading that train in front of him, as Silo now has had enough of staring at the back of that Mercedes diffuser and has now gone ahead of Uncle. So that's Silo now to P10, Uncle in P11, Snack just watching in P12, just minding his own business, as is everybody else in fact in this train, which still contains Fala Spinoda, surprisingly, but I keep saying very soon it's going to drop out. I keep saying that, and it's still not happened yet. So he's doing a decent job on those soft tyres. That is Epic Vale locking up into turn 5. Not going to do the car and the tyres any good, but if you keep on doing that. Melwin has now dropped out of the DRS from Tech, finally now showing the first signs that these soft tyres are starting to give way.
Fair play to them making these tyres last as long as they have so far. I assume we're looking maybe lap 12, 13 for them to go into the pits. But yeah, Tech has helped Melwin no end there as Nicholas moves to the inside, maybe to get away from the dirty air as well, because we know that affects the tyre life of the tyres. Not sure how else to describe that.
Great one, Waldo. Good one, man. Sorry, Snack getting very close to the diffuser there of Uncle going into turn 1. Looked like he was making a little faint move onto the inside, but in the end falls back in behind. But that's the closest that Snack has come to trying to get a move done to either Silo or Uncle so far in this race, and it's come at the start of lap 12, but nothing came from it. Volokongan now closing in a little bit as a result of that little faint move. Less than 3 seconds now on the gap between Kevin to Silo, so give it another 2-3 laps and these pit stoppers are going to catch up to this group, but by that point those on the softs should have pit.
Well, we say that. We don't really know what they're doing right now, as Wards is all over the back of Nicholas, the ViC2VNT named drivers. The softs are staying out again as wide goes Wards, and somehow doesn't go off further wide and cause any damage or spray of gravel onto the track. And, well, the soft runners are still out there. This is really rather interesting, isn't it?
It certainly is. What it's actually doing, though, is messing up these medium tyre runners who haven't yet pitted, as Max von der Gies gets very close to the back of Monza, trying to go for a move down the inside of 4. He's now got the grip. He's got the inside line. That's the difference between 12 upload, soft and medium tyres. And yes, that's the move done. That's P6 for Max von der Gies at the moment. But what I was saying was that, Melwin's now dropped 3 seconds off Tech in a space of 2.5-3 laps, and that just shows that these softs have now just gone off the cliff. Tech has now closed up to the current race leader Otsa Zito, just showing again that pace difference now between these 12 lap old soft and medium tyres. So Wards, Max von der Gies and David, their races are kind of being compromised, and now look who's joined the party earlier than what I actually just said. Silo is now on the back of this train, and this is now where it's going to get a bit dicey trying to get these positions. Otzazito pits, as does Melwin, and as does Monza. So 3 of the soft runners have pitted, so that just leaves Kevin Zumberg and Nicholas, who started on the softs, to stay out for another lap.
Yeah, I wanted to say about having the Jules music be introduced, because Silo is hunting them down and going around the outside of turn 3. Silo needs to make these moves stick, and what a move from Silo. Obviously the fresh rubber helps, but they need to do it well. They needed to make the move stick, and they've done exactly that. Kevin Zinneberg struggling with Uncle and has to concede the position because of that grip. Silo needs to find a way of dispatching someone and putting a car in between them to stop Uncle from attacking, and then, well, have that gap, but then also allow Snack a chance to attack Uncle, because he wants as many points over the championship leader as humanly possible.
Indeed, yeah. So there goes Silent now. He's put David now in between himself and Uncle. This is just going to be a repetitive theme. There's a bit of a twitch there from Uncle on the exit of 10 into 11, now in through turn 12. He's on the outside of the FRT, man. He's still there on the outside. We're going side by side through the penultimate corner, but he's gone off track there. As Uncle David has actually got into the pit, and he's crashed into the pit wall on the inside, on the outside there. I don't know if he's got away with any damage or not. I can't see on the front of that car, and it won't actually let me change. No, it will. There we go. I've managed to change camera. The answer is I can't see on that front left side of his wing because of the camera angle I have. This is like a very bad. Oh, he's got no damage. There we go. He's got away with it.
But it
after all that,
it has given a 1.3 second gap between Silo and Uncle, which is now being cleared pretty quickly. It is side by side between Silo and Wards, and that's not ideal at all. And that's given DRS straight back to Uncle. Wards is not going to be on Silo's Christmas card list after all that.
I mean, he's got every right to defend that position. He's got to try and get these mediums to last as long as he can. So I can't really blame him for it. He's doing his own race. He's doing his own strategy, and he doesn't have to wave the white flag and let him go. He's not French. Or if he is French, then I do apologise. But either way, Silo now gets ahead. He takes the lead of this race, but he does give the opportunity to Uncle now to see if he can, well, get a move done, but they both will have DRS, even with Wards pitting, so it'll be staying as you were, I should say. So we're back to as we were. Silo now leading from Uncle P2, Snack P3, Valenconga now up to P4 from Epic Vale, Quantum in P6. Dirk has benefited from this. He's in P7, and then you've got a gap to Finley in P8 as Fana Spinoda's soft tyres, now 10 laps old, are crying to be removed and switched to another compound.
And Otsazito is 13.4 seconds behind race leader Silo. So obviously Silo's tyres are not past their best, but yep, getting there. And the fresher rubber on Otsazito's car is, well, proving dividends right now as we stay on board with the leaders through all this. As well, Fana Spinoda is dropping like a stone, it feels like, from Finley, even though it's still within the DRS. It just doesn't look good for Fana right now. Max van der Geest has gone on to a set of softs, as has Wards, which makes sense considering they were on the mediums to start with. And I don't know which way the letter of the law is going to lie here, but Tech Brutal on a set of mediums again, so going medium, soft, setting the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, that was very tight into turn one there between Misha and Fana Spinoda. The gap was sort of there, but at the same time it just wasn't, as well as we're also side by side now between Monza and Max van der Geest. Max van der Geest now trying to go round the outside of turn three. He's got the soft tyres, he's got the better grip at this stage, he gets the move done. Excellent move there by Max van der Geest into P14. The one thing I was just going to say before watching all that is we now have a yellow flag. That is a Ferrari of Finley. Yeah. Answers on a postcard, please. Not too sure what's happened there. What I was actually going to say, in fact I might not be able to say it now, as Tech now is trying to go for a move on Fana Spinoda, gets that move done, and now puts a car between him and Otsazito. So yeah, I'll try again what I was going to say. Otsazito has actually got a good thing here with Tech being in front of him. He's on one lap all the tyres compared to the Alpine, but for Otsazito clearly doing a one-stop strategy, he can use Tech to just pull him along here and can save his battery. He's got to get ahead of Fana Spinoda first, goes to the inside line, gets that move done, but Tech gets ahead of Misha. So now there's another car in between. David speeds in pit lane and retires. So that's the first retirement. It's taken to lap 18 at least. So we've gone over half the distance, and that's our first retirement tonight. Don't know if anyone's noticed, Dirk has just made his second stop, going for a massive undercut if he can. But this is the difference now. Look where Otzazito is in relation to Dirk, and that gap between the pair of them is 12 seconds.
Very interesting. Yellow flag. Oh, that is for David's car. Well, before we saw Finley fly off, Misha sent it up the inside of Fanna Spinoda at turn 5, which was very, very late, which got my heart rate up a little bit. But Otzazito has to push a little bit now to get back in within that DRS of Tech. Melwin and Finley swapping positions. Into the pits is Epic Vale as well, going for another undercut for the season 19 Div 2 runner-up, I want to say. As Tech Brutal, again, fastest lap of the race, showing their pace right now.
Indeed he is, and yeah, he's a man on fire at the moment, is Tech in this race, but obviously he is off strategy compared to some of those, well, especially to the 5 cars in front. He still has another pit stop to make. He's gone medium, so he will be on the soft tyres at the end, but he's got to close that gap to the 5 in front, which now is being broken up with Quantum 1.7 seconds off the back of Volakongan. So Quantum now dropping out of the DRS. I think that'll also been down to Max von der Geest, sorry, Epic Vale, making his pit stop. Speaking of Max von der Geest, we've got 5 cars very close together here, and he now gets ahead of Finley and Nicholas, and with a bit of contact there, we've got more contact between Nicholas and of Wards and Monza, and it's getting very, very dicey, more so in this mid-pack towards the latter end of the points. McLaren there of Nicholas sending it down the inside of Finley, who's on these much older medium tyres, and that is job done for Nicholas. He's up into P11 as some of the leaders are in the pits again. That is Snack, Uncle and Silo, your top 3 making their second and potentially final pit stop.
And crucially, out of all that, Volakongan stayed out, so doing an extra lap, another extra lap instead of these guys. But wow, I was watching this battle. What's happened to Dirk?
Oh, an Epic Vale. No, I was just going to say watch Dirk and Epic Vale, and Epic Vale's got ahead of Snack, and Dirk unfortunately has hit the back of the Red Bull, but Epic Vale is ahead of Snack. That was the man running, the guy running P3, and Epic Vale has now got ahead of him, and Uncle is going to be laughing. He's going to be happy with that he's got a car between him and his nearest championship contender.
Crazy yellow flag, and there's a Ferrari in the wall, and someone at Finley's out, and is that going to be safety car? Has Volakongan managed to pull off another wonderful strategy masterclass? Tech Brutal is there as well. Otzazito must be hitting their head against a brick wall with all of these issues that have happened with safety car. But I saw the end of that, and I just saw a Ferrari coming back off the wall at the exit of turn 5, but it was weird. It was on the left-hand side, and it coming back onto the track, so I'm not sure what has happened there. Diving into the pits is Max van der Geest. Otzazito stays out, but everyone else is going into the pits and getting a good chunk of time back. Nicholas is staying out as well. I think these are the drivers that are stuck on the 2-stop strategy. Volakongan is going to come out in P3 just behind Melwin, but crucially 7 lap tyres younger than Otzazito. Otzazito is going to be in a world of pain at the end of this Grand Prix. Silo is P7 just behind Kevin Zunberg, and Quantum has jumped back up after being out of the DRS of Volakongan, is now up into P5, and we can say possibly net P2.
Well, quite possibly, yeah. He's got to get the moves done to begin with, but yeah, certainly has ruined the one-stoppers strategy here. It's also ruined Tech's strategy because he's had to go excuse me, onto the soft compound tyre, and he's going to have to get those to stretch at least 10 racing laps by the time we get back underway. So not ideal for Tech, but at least he's in P12 at the moment. So obviously the likes of Dirk on 3-lap old mediums, because he tried to go for that undercut, which did work sort of, and then has now not worked, because obviously, yeah, the safety car has just thrown everything up in the air. And yeah, those who did not pit, so Volokongan, Quantum in particular, have benefited big style. Otsazito is just going to have to hope that Melwin can, and Nicholas, and Kevin for that fact as well, can hold a lot of these drivers, you know, from Silo downwards up to the end of this Grand Prix. But that's easier said than done when you've got, you know, the fastest drivers on console here racing against you. But let's wait and see. I'm surprised actually though that they didn't go for a pit stop, and because you know they've got a fresh set of mediums that they could go on, but perhaps they're thinking they'll drop too many positions. I mean, well, actually saying that, yeah, Altazito would have done if he pitted. He was behind Tech anyway, so he'd have been down in P12, 13 anyway. So perhaps by doing it this way, he's cutting his losses a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they can hold out a little bit for say 5 or 6 laps, and then another safety car may have hit. Then they, you know, fresh set of softs and, you know, Bob's your uncle kind of thing, and it's a straight sprint out. And well, right now, that 7-lap tyre difference is going to make a world of difference. But like you rightly mentioned, Volokongan and Quantum need to get through drivers, but so does Silo, Uncle, Epic Vale, and Snack and Dirk. It's going to be an interesting end to this one. We felt like last week we were denied an opportunity of whether Silo could catch Otsazito. It could again, that we were denied, but if it was anything like last week, we're going to have a hell of a Grand Prix to end this one with.
We certainly are, and in fact the safety car's coming in a lap earlier than what I thought, so it's going to be 11 racing laps to the end of this Grand Prix unless we get another safety car. But yes, Otsazito will now slow them down, control the pace. But what can he do on these considerably older medium tyres to the majority of this grid that are on a fresh set of boots? Everyone's on mediums. Like I said, Bartek Brutal in P12. Watch out for him at the start. As there goes Otsazito trying to catch them napping, but Melman was not slacking at all there. Otsazito feeling he has to go defensive to try and break the slipstream if he can, but that gap is not changing from 0.3 of a second, so he doesn't need to. Volokongan trying to get close now. Here's the guy to watch. Here's Volokongan. 7-lap pressure tyres compared to the top 2. He'll want to get a move on to get his second win of the season after winning in Hungary with the same situation with a safety car coming out. He hadn't made his pit stop. He's going to go try and do it again, but he's got Quantum on the same strategy as him, but he's got a McLaren of Nicholas in his way, but he's so close to that McLaren. Tries to go for a move. He's going to go around the outside of 5, brakes very late, gets the car stopped, but doesn't get the move done. Someone who did get the move done though was Silo. He's now in P6, keeping out on him. His tyres are only 1 lap older to Quantum and Volokongan's, but the only difference is they've got more rubber down because they were under at least 1 racing lap.
Yeah, this is tantalising stuff as well. Melwin struggling, I think, for a little bit for grip as Tech Brutal getting past Dirk for P11, as there is gaps not fully forming just yet, but Volokongan is all over the back of Melwin. DRS will be open this, onto this lap. It's not open now, but surely Volokongan is going to dispatch of the VNT driver of Melwin up the inside. Silo looking up the inside as well, but nothing doing on this occasion. It's now Volokongan in P2 trying to find enough of a pace advantage over Otsazito in these early doors to get the move done, and then maybe play with Otsazito. And there's something going on in the background.
There is, yeah. Max von der Geest trying to get a move done on Dirk. They just rubbed tyre to side pod, got a bit of contact, and he's made contact with Dirk. Dirk is out of this race, and it's another safety car.
Goodness me, what do they do at this point? Do they throw on a set of softs? Surely at this point, again, it would be too early. Otsazito would be in a lose-lose situation no matter what. If Otsazito pits,
I think you've got to.
Yeah.
I think you have to. It's, I mean, I say that, you're going to have at least a couple, 2 or 3 laps at least before we get going again. But, oh, that's such a difficult decision. I mean, Ward has to pit. Those towards the back of the field may as well go on to a new set of softs because they're not going to lose anything. But yeah, what does he do? He stays out, and I suppose I do not blame him. Does anybody pit in the top 10? The answer is Kevin Zumberg pits. He was one of the drivers that was trying to do this one stop. He's thinking, I'm going to cut my losses a little bit if I can, go on to the softs. Anybody else going to the pits? The answer is, well, Ward, obviously, considering that, yes, he has wing damage. So no surprises. So only 2 pit stoppers, which surprises me. Yeah, that was that all started with Max van der Geest trying to go around the outside of 1, having the inside of 2 on Dirk. All was clean, no problem there. It was then through turn 3 where it was tyre against side pod that got them a little bit squirrely. Wards then had a cutback on the inside then through 3 and into 4, and then just all bedlam and mayhem ensued between him and Dirk after that, and in the end both of them sent to the wall. One has had to change his wing and tyres, is down in last place. The other one is out of this Grand Prix, and well, for Dirk, that's it's been a bit of a iffy season for him at best. That's just made it a hell of a lot worse. Yeah, that was me thinking of 11 racing laps to go. Unless there's another safety car, it barely lost a lap and a quarter.
And it does help out a little bit. I was just thinking it helps out Ottosito, and then realised Wollongong is there. Barely any life done on their tyres at all, and is, well, I need to get the Jules music out again, I think.
I think so, but at the same time, it does mean at least he's still got Melvin and Nicholas in P3 and P4, again on the same strategy. So it does help because they're not going to lose positions as quickly as they would have done initially. So there is a positive side to this for him. I mean, obviously still waiting for Ward to close in on the back of the group, which he's going to now. So lap 20, end of 26, start of 27 is when we should be getting going again. There's no issue now for them getting these mediums to the end of the race, these one-stoppers. It's just a case of can they hold on to get as good a finish as they can. They're not going to finish on the podium. If they do, then that's some effort from them. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see in that front. In terms of the championship battle, so Silo now up into P6, Uncle in P7, Snack still in P9. In P9, and still behind Epic Vale, who he needs to get a move past and done as quick as possible. The problem he's got a Tech Brutal behind him on soft tyres that might be 5 laps old, but themselves have only done a lap and a bit's worth at full racing speed, so they've still got a lot of life in them.
If you're Snack, do you let Tech? It's going to sound horrible, but do you let a driver through? You don't want to do that at all, but if you let that faster driver through, knowing that the likelihood is you'll be able to pass them later on, get to a point where Tech then maybe pushes Epic Vale onto a suboptimal line, and then maybe make the most of that. I mean, it's a bold, risky call for yourself, but the safety car, you were right, is in this lap. It's a possibility for Snack, but I doubt it. They don't want to lose any positions at all, do they? They're racers.
No, they certainly don't. But again, these are 2 SCI compatriots, and they won't want to affect each other. But at the end of the day, this is not a team event. This is a solo individual, and yeah, at the same time, you're still representing your team because you don't want to come to blows, but you are fighting for yourself. So when does Otsazito go? He's going a little bit later this time compared to last time, and it's a good restart there by Otsazito. Catches Wollongong napping, and actually Melvin is all over the diffuser of that Williams, but he's not going to be close enough. He's not going to have the grip. Quantum, though, trying to go around the outside of Nicholas into turn 1. Can he get this moved on? He's late on the brakes there. It's the Haas. There's wheel banging. There's contact. Where's Silo in all this? He's still behind. Quantum, though, is up into P4. Silo trying to get a cutback through 3 on the inside of the McLaren. He's got the overlap. He's half a car length alongside. Can he outbrake him into 4? Yes, he can. That's Nicholas down 2 places. Look at Epic Vale now, though. rubbing wheels with the Mercedes of Tony, of Uncle there. He's gone to the outside into 5. I'm about to lose my voice in a second. I've not breathed in the set in a while. But Epic Vale nearly got the move done there. But Snack is now dropping down the field. He's behind not only Tech but Max van der Geest.
This is horrible for Snack. Horrible situation.
He's got wing damage. He's got wing damage as well.
No way. What's going on further in the background? There's Gaggle. There's a 4-3 wide. It's going to end badly. This is horrible situation. Monza's involved. Fanny Spinoda is involved there as well. Tech Brutal and Epic Vale have swapped positions. And here comes Max van der Geest on Epic Vale as well. And this is what I was talking about. Maybe letting the faster driver in and then pushing that car on weirder lines. And surely this time around, no, nothing doing for Volokongan on this occasion. Just in the background, we've got Uncle trying to get through Nicholas. It's closer to turns 1 and 2. The switchback is available, but it's not happening on this occasion. And here comes Tech Brutal looking at this thinking, oh, this is tasty. To the inside goes Nicholas, defensive. Uncle has to, no, he doesn't. And this is costing the championship leader an awful lot of time. And Tech Brutal is just getting closer and closer.
It is. Snack still falling down the field. He's now down to P12. He's now got Monza on his inside into turn 5 for P13 now. Potentially for the man's second place in the championship, and indeed it is. It's P13. Kevin's been cutting the corner there. Watched on board with that. That's a clear warning. And the time penalty. What have I missed?
Quantum drifting on the exit of turn 9, and it's a loud silo into P4. And well, the one person you probably don't want breathing down your neck is Silo at the best of times. But my goodness me, when he's realising that Uncle's being caught and held behind, Silo's probably got a little bit more impetus to go racing and go attacking. Volokongan still trying to find a way past Otsazito. Probably doesn't want Silo behind them either. There goes Volokongan into the lead of the race, and this is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination.
Certainly isn't. 5 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Silo now going for a cutback on 3. He's done this once before on Nicholas. A few laps to go. He's going to try and do it on Melvin. Melvin now cuts to the inside, blocks him, shuts the door. He wants this podium, but again the cutback is there for Silo. Going to be on the outside for turn 4 here. Can he outbrake that King Sauber? He tries his best to outbrake the Alpine on the power, on the battery. Little bit of contact, but it's P3 for Silo. He's doing what he needs to do. Uncle still cannot get ahead of Nicholas, but he has now, finally, through turns 7 and 8. He's into P6.
What, how, where? Silo showcasing everything that they need to do right now, as I think that's Tech Brutal finding a way past Nicholas, maybe telling Uncle, that's how you do it, son. Tech in the same team as in Shizou with Silo, but also in the Alpine together with Silo. Could be working together a little bit as well, who knows. But Volokongan setting the fastest lap of the race, and Otsazito has been dispatched by Silo. It's Shizou 1-2 yet again, but Volokongan and Silo this time, and there's squabbling in the background between Max van der Geest, Monza and Fanny Spinoda, who have been at the races heavily today.
Yeah, indeed. Max van der Geest actually has plate damage himself. I think he got that maybe with battling with Snack. As Monza now going around the outside of him through turn 4. That was as easy as you like. We're now nearly 3 wide though, going into 5, if not 4 wide potentially. It's absolute carnage at the in the midfield here from P10 downwards. And Fanny Spinoda now on the inside of his former teammate Max van der Geest. There's a bit of wheel bagging. Max van der Geest actually goes onto the grass there, becomes a lawnmower. And he's now dropped down to the back of the field. Further up the field, Uncle tried to get a move done here on Quantum, who's made another mistake. He's on the inside through turn 12, but what can Uncle do with the... Can he have the other grip of the engine? No! He's been forced onto the gravel, and he's lost 1, 2, not quite 3 places, but he's down into P8.
Quantum was holding no prisoners there. Obviously made a mistake, but had the racing line and wanted to keep it. And Otsazito is dropping from the leaders right now. And, well, Max van der Geest retiring from this one. Lap 31 of 33. We've got a grandstand grandstand finish yet again. And what a way. What a way to end this Grand Prix. Maybe not the best way in cleanliness in some areas, but at least it's action on the screen.
It certainly is. Now, what do you do here if you're Volokonga? You've got the reigning champion, but he's a champion of himself of this division here in WOR. He will want to get that second win of the season, but he knows as to what the championship standings are at the moment. But saying that, he's not completely out of it, and getting a win here tonight will just give him that opportunity to, you know, believe that he still has a chance, which he can do. But he's got the fastest drive on console in behind him. They're 1.8 seconds clear now of Otsazito on his 17-lap-old tyres. He's hanging on to that final podium position for dear life. He's got Melwin behind him as kind of cover, really, you could say. But he too has also held his own, and he's doing a fantastic job there in P4. Otsazito goes to the right-hand side to try and break the toe as best as he can. That Kicksama is coming at a rate of knots, but not quick enough. Any moves in further behind can take it close enough to Quantum. The answer is no. Misha now retires from the race. We're down to 15 runners and riders, and we're still got this battle for P10 between Fada Spinoda and Monte and Kevin Zimberg now still going at it. But Uncle down now in P8. He's got to get a move done on Nicholas once again. Did he? He might want to think that he was far enough alongside to get warranted the space there that Quantum was not going to give him. There's going to be a few questions asked at the end of this race. But was it a move that he needed to do at this point of the championship? I don't think so. I think it was just a bit risky.
It definitely was a bit risky, and all of a sudden he's got VNT Nicholas in front of him again. It was difficult for him to overtake last time, proving just as difficult this time. I think we could see a change in the lead. Switch back available for Uncle. This is deja vu again. Nicholas keeps to the outside. Uncle is desperate to try and find a way through. It's just not happening for the championship leader right now. Is there going to be a change in the lead? I'm not sure. No. Silo can't find a way through. Volokongan still leads this Grand Prix.
He does, with onto the final lap of this race. Melwin was a tenth of a second. That was so close, and Uncle's he's off the track again. He's now down to P9. Tried so hard to get ahead of that McLaren, and he couldn't do it. And once again, he's lost a position, or positions, and this time to Epic Vale, who's back ahead of him once again. The championship leader having a race to forget. As it currently stands, the only good thing is the guy second in the championship is having an even worse day, and that is Snack. He's down to P15 and is the last of the runners and riders at the moment. Out in front, through turn 9 come the two race leaders. Volokongan has got a 4/10 gap over Silo, who's used all of his battery. He's not going to be close enough, I think, to make a move to turn 10. The answer is he's certainly not. A few corners to go for the former champion, that is Volokongan. He's missed the first 3 races this season. He took victory at Hungary, and he's going to take victory again here tonight. The second time with the help of a safety car. He doesn't care. It's victory for Volokongan in Spain, closely followed by Silo and Otsazito. Fair play. Holds on to P3 to get the final podium position.
What an end to this Grand Prix. Again, two late safety cars this week has caused the one-stop questioning Otsazito and a final, well, I don't want to say final lap showdown, but a end of the race showdown between Silo and Uncle and probably Snack trying to chase down Otsazito. But fair play to Otsazito. That is what a drive, still managing a one-stop in those situations.
Indeed it was, and again, we're robbed of the chances to what could have happened between the one-stop and the two-stop at the wrong moment, but still, like you said, fair play to him. Getting that 3rd place, it technically still means he gained a position, so he gets onto the podium at least, but it is Volokongan who wins from Silo, and Otsazito P3. Melwin there from 16th to 4th, also having a great drive, getting that one-stop to work for him even more so. Quantum P5, Tech in P6, Nicholas P7 from Eckert Vale, the championship leader Uncle for only 9th here tonight, and Fada Spinoda rounds out the top 10. Yeah, now Monza, Wards, Kevin Zimberg, and Snack in P14. Second in the championship will no longer be second. Tiago 15th, and then Misha, Max van der Geest, Dirk, Finley, and David. We are non-finishers here tonight. What a shake-up it has been here tonight, and well, Uncle's lead has been reduced here tonight, and Silo, I believe, does Silo take second place in the standings from that? I think so.
No.
Oh, they'll be
Level on
tied.
points. Level on
Be tied,
points.
but he will be ahead based off count back on race wins.
Which is crazy. Yeah. I mean, driver of the day was given to Melwin.
To Melwin.
Which is a fair assessment for that. But what about yourself? Who do you think it should go to?
I mean, there's a fair few you could give it to. I mean, yeah, Melwin for a start, obviously 16th and 4th. Yes, got the luck with the safety car, but you still have to get the job done. And considering how much older his tyres were, same with Otzazito as well. But he started P4 up to P3. Volokongan obviously got lucky. I mean, a lot of drivers got lucky and unlucky in a lot of respects. It's a hard one to call. I think I'd go with the game and give it to Melwin just based off the position aspect. But there's quite a few that you could arguably say that deserved it just as much.
I think Otzazito may be in with a shout, considering they couldn't win this race. The console tier 1 chat is going absolutely nuts.
Yep.
My eyes, I think I need to bleach them. So next week, you've said Austria, I've said China. Plenty of options still to choose from in the list there. Out of the tracks that are left, the 9 tracks, what is the one track you really want to see in these final few rounds?
China. It's as simple as that. It's China. I think I said this a few weeks ago. It's, I mean, besides Silverstone, it's my, I mean, for me at least, as a driver's track, I mean, obviously there's a lot that's up there, yeah, don't get me wrong, but for me, China was always one of my best tracks, and I'd just like to see what these drivers can do around the Shanghai International Circuit. It's, you've got a bit of everything there. You've got this tight, twisty snail section of Sector 1, you've got the faster flowing middle sector, then you obviously get that humongous long back straight into the hairpin, which has been a cause for many collisions in the past, and race ending or even race victory taking moments, let's say. So I'd like to see China on there, but at the same time I'd also love to see Spa.
Yeah, there's definitely 2. I mean, I'm siding for Brazil just because I love that track as a driving track, but it can be a bit funny with league racing and how the race unfolds there. Sometimes it can be an absolute snore fest, and then sometimes it's an absolute ding dong, like we saw here in Spain tonight. But yeah, China. We saw Max Verstappen go into the back of Sebastian Vettel at the end of the hairpin, I think, turn 14, which is, the race-defining moment, let's say. Still trying to bleach my eyes from the chat. The console tier 1 chat, that is. That was another hectic race. Yes, there's some questionable moments, but it's got enough of a factor about it that kind of it allows you to sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and away from the actual tier 1 chat itself, which you get that a lot of the time. In fact, you get it pretty much every single week, and we won't go into what's said. A number of people already know that as it is, but things will be forgotten about. Everyone will kind of reset once it's all swept under the mat going into next week, for it to just be repeated again, no doubt. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It keeps us on our seat, in our seats. It puts us on the edge of our seats. Let's say on the verge of falling off. But still, this is that's what you get sometimes when drivers go for very opportunistic moves, minimal amount of space, and also a little bit of game physics involved. But anyway, that's why we come here. We come to watch the action, the craziness, but also the great overtaking, which we did see tonight at the same time in amongst the silliness. But we'll do it all again next week, or at least I will be. Wardo will not.
I will be in Budapest. But yes, it's been another 2 weeks on the bounce of hectic racing and some great overtakes. Well put, because Silo definitely threw some going around the outside of turn 3. Absolute great cinema, I suppose you could say, as the cool kids say. I don't know. I'm too old for that now. But yeah, some great racing and some great action to behold us this evening. But yeah, WR will be back on Monday night for the PC, where Tuesday night for the Legacy division, and then Friday for console Tier 1 round 8. We don't know where it is because it's a mystery season, but we're sure it's going to be a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.